Okay. It is a day to burn some sage, and that we are and we will do. And so please inhale and exhale. Breathe it in and breathe it out. Allowing that cleansing, that purification through the lungs, through the mind, through the heart, through the cells. I am so and spring peeks through. It is such a divine blessing to be with you and to be in your presence this morning and on this beautiful, beautiful day. And I'm already seeing that we have some interruptions going on. And I was noticing that as I was signing in earlier. So we're just going to do our best with this, and I'm going to get right into it. Welcome, everyone. I am Tuesday Mae Thomas, and this is 4D Trinity, my weekly live stream, where what we do is we unify, we understand how to create unity between the mind, the body, and the emotions through that connection with spirit, right? Through understanding who we are at the heart of ourselves, in the truth of ourselves. Now, with this is so beautifully aligned with our topic this morning, the throat chakra and the spiritual integrator. And I cannot tell you enough how much my whole life has completely to open my throat and to speak my truth. And there are baby steps, there are learning curves for sure as we align with our truths and learn how to be brave enough to speak them into reality. Yet at the same time, those are all simple initiations that bring us back to ourselves, that bring us back to our truth, and allow us to align in heaven on earth realization, which is all that I teach, everything I share here, every single video that is shared at this YouTube channel. I'm like, where am I? That is shared at this YouTube channel is all about your spiritual growth. It's all about serving our collective sovereignty together and having that experience of being present, having that experience of knowing who we are in a beautiful, peaceful space, individually and collectively. And that is such a gift. So I invite you today to rethink how you've been speaking over your body, to rethink how you've been speaking over your finances, over your life, over your relationships, over your legs, your toes, your heart, your health. I mean, every single part and parcel of your life. Get ready to reawaken. Get ready to dematerialize in the areas of your life that are ready to disappear. Those parts of you that you are ready to disappear. Found externally in the world. And so here we go again. I'm seeing that the internet's having a serious problem. I'm going to come right back. All right. Blessings, everyone. So I'm reconnecting the Yeah. I believe I'm going to have to reload this page. All right, blessings, everyone. I think it's just so in fucking credible that we got to unplug and replug in. I think it's amazing, especially that we're talking about this throat chakra and the spiritual integrator and how it helps to integrate us, how it serves to integrating what we think and what we speak into this 3D reality of the grid matrix of collective consciousness. So thank you for hanging on, everyone. I really appreciate that. Something was going on with the internet. I had to unplug it and replug it back in. So I bless this and I thank you all for being here. So this is so very, very interesting because we learn over time. We learn. And it's funny because I teach that time is on the tip of our tongue, right? When it comes to time and space and applied metaphysics. Yet what we learn through our spiritual growth is the actual power, the currency that our words hold. And not only those words that we speak through the vibrational medicine that we activate in this world and on this earth, yet those invisible words that exist as thoughts and the thoughts that we have on repeat in our minds and how powerful and potent they are. There's a point where we exist in the world and unbeknownst to us, perhaps we feel that we are a victim. We feel that things are happening to us and we don't understand why. Yet as we meditate and we go within, and we expand in really looking at ourselves and really knowing ourselves, we begin to understand, whoa. And as we begin to listen, that's a big one. Listen to how we speak over our lives, to what we say. What are we adding in every moment, right? To others, to ourselves, to any situation we may find ourselves in. We begin to, as we practice self-awareness, as we practice greater impeccability, learn the value of the orientation of how and where our words land us in our feelings and our emotions and our health and our day-to-day experiences. And so we start to understand the time lapse between what we speak and what we think coming into being. The more we become aware of it, the time and space between, the lag space between what we think and what we say and us actually having that experience, there's actually no separation. Yet it would seem there is, right, metaphysically in this dimension, because there are all sorts of other people, places, events, and timelines that our words connect with and connect us to. And so there is a value of time placed there. Yet ultimately, what you speak, what you think is instantly. It is because, like the Om, like any prayer that you connect with, it is always playing in the background of the one song of the universe. And so we're plugging directly into it. Now, I spoke about this at last night's yoga class. Imagine the trillions and trillions of cells in your body. I mean, can you even imagine? Have you ever seen that maybe in biology or science class when you were a kid in school? Or look it up, you know, and have a look at if you can find some dark field microscopy, you know, clips or something. It is just bizarre and wild. How many trillions of cells make you up in your body? And it is even furthermore bizarre and wild how many atoms, it is said, trillions upon trillions, even more than cells, make up your body. Yet at the same time, there's more space between the atoms than there are atoms that make us up. We've spoke about that before. The point is, every thought that you think and every word that you speak, your body is listening. Your cells are listening. Your atoms are listening. And they are responding accordingly. Much like the universe, right? We've learned this with our affirmations and whatnot. Much like the universe, when we speak something into creation, The universe doesn't have bias. The universe says, oh, no, you can't, right? Your own mind, your tar body may say something resistant or that will block a flourishing thought, phrase, vision, prayer of abundance on all levels. Your higher self, your light body may encourage it and may guide it. But ultimately, your cells and your atoms, they have no mind about them other than the mind that you give them, other than what you tell them, what you program them to believe, and how you program them to be run. And the programming comes from your words, the words that you speak out loud and the words that you think in silence in your mind. Now, let's consider that all of you is always listening all of the time. Just reflecting on this morning. What sort of morning have you had? What sort of thoughts are dominating your mind? We come to understand as we deepen our awareness and maybe look more into how our lives are run on automatic pilot and through the subconscious mind, we begin to understand that those words, those phrases, those things that we repeat over and over and over again become embedded and implanted in the subconscious mind, in the substrata of self, that then drives everything else. The basement of you, the basement of you, the subconscious of you, the deepest parts of you are where all of those repeated thoughts, those repeated words, phrases, be they positive affirmations, blessed prayers, or the opposite, that's where they are stored. And when we do our spiritual work, when we open our throat chakra, when we activate our spiritual integrator, when we become attuned to the truth in our heart, what happens is the lights turn on and we begin to realize how much stuff is down there in the basement, how much stuff we've collected over this lifetime or many different past lives that is ready to be healed, that is ready to be brought to light, that is ready to be cleared, cleaned, blessed, and released. It disappeared, I like to say. With love. How do we disappear it with love? Well, we're going to do that later. We're going to do a little meditation at the end of today's program. Before we go on, I do want to take a moment. I'm very strongly guided from higher self. I want to let you all know, this blessed community, that I will be in Europe in the fall of this year, 2019. And specifically, I will be in Ireland. I will be doing workshops on Reiki, on spiritual growth, on healing. Relevar, the luminous crystals entity that has been working with me for some time, that is a direct fractal of Saint Germain, and the violet flame will be channeling with me there in Ireland. If there's anyone out there in those regions that know of community that would seek these kinds of teachings, that would have me, that would be interested in receiving a Reiki workshop, in receiving spiritual growth programs, channeling session with Relevar, whatever it might be, I'd be so grateful if you would contact me. My information is down below in the show more box. So thank you so much. I was just very strongly guided to interject that right there. See, that's the throat chakra. Now, and interesting too, because earlier we were talking about all of the trillions upon trillions of cells and atoms in the body that are listening, And isn't that an interesting part of the throat chakra as well? Because as much as we may understand or come to learn about the throat chakra being about clarity of expression, your true, honest communication, and being able to speak that in the world, equally, the throat chakra activation is about listening, and it's about being silent. It's about cultivating an obscure ability and sensibility to observe through that throat chakra, through that gateway that connects the heart to the third eye and to the crown chakra. This is a massive filter that is either going to anchor us back down into the subconscious realm or lengthen and lift us up into the heavenly realms. And as long as the basement is cleaned out, that energy can go up and down. You can be anchored and uplifted, and all is well in all of creation, because the crystalline tube is calibrated with love, with God, with spirit, with source, with truth. And so you are grounded in your truth. You speak your truth, and it connects you directly to source. But understanding that not only, so now we're going to expand out a little more. So not only are your cells and the atoms that you embody listening to you, and as we said before, they don't have a preference. Only that which you have placed inside of them as a cellular memory, as an atomic memory that connects you to the greater whole of the grid matrix of collective consciousness. So to the degree that you have repeated certain sayings, certain phrases about your body, about your health, and especially those that are limiting, that are fear-filled, and that do not serve you in navigating your truth, your freedom, your independence, your liberation, and your healing, well, those are the things that anchor us into the gravity of the grid, that anchor us into the 3D and the binary consciousness. And that's fine. That's where we do the work. This is exactly where we do the work. Yet if we're seeking to awaken the throat chakra, right, we do know that there is a clearing of that basement. We could think of that basement for now as that root chakra, right, where our deepest fears are held. And we move it up to the second chakra, where our creative power, potential, possibility is, where our sexuality resides in its balanced, most high harmonious alignment. Our ability to manifest, to create in that third chakra, right? How we show up in the world as a body, as a person, as an ego identity, as all of those lower forms are healed. And we know it's a continual work, right? It's a work in progress. There's waves, there will be layers, and sometimes they will be quick. And you may have to spend years. You may have to spend years working on a certain chakra, and then ride the wave of that healing and be pretty smooth, until you hit another bump at part of the spiral where you get to do more work and go deeper into that layer. I know for me, and this is just for me, I spent the majority of my life working on my throat chakra, being able to speak up for myself, not being afraid of the power of my words. And I invite you, dear relations, to know the power of your word in both directions, in the directions of that which liberates you, but also in the direction of that which can bind you. And again, the more awake, the more aware we become, we begin to understand that the power to live the truth of your life, the life that you love, to embody healing of a new order, is all on the tip of your tongue. Myself and Will were speaking the other day, and he reminded me, and a dear friend, Rochelle, had told me this years and years ago, and perhaps you know of this idea that when an embryo forms, the first part of it to form is the heart. The very next part is the tip of the tongue. The tip of your tongue came right after your heart in this 3D creation, in this body that you embody. Your power to phrase and affirm and bring to life through your word has been with you since inception, since you have come into being. This is a very, very powerful, powerful notion to sit with. Knowing that you are a massive contributor to your own wellness, to your own healing, and to your adaptability to being in the world and not of it, to healing your life. Well, this is a responsibility. And we learn this responsibility with practice. With practice. There may be, on one hand, a very unhealthy, unstable situation in the body. And so we get to consider and be gentle on yourself, but consider, how do I speak over my body? How do I speak over my body? What am I saying to my body on a daily basis? Am I offering gratitude and reflections of love and light? Am I offering the correct conditions for my body to heal itself on a daily basis, to radiate and engage in greater love and greater light? And knowing that your words are so powerful. And so again, as equal as that activation of the throat chakra is about you expressing and communicating courageously your truth, and so bringing it down to earth, as much as it is that, it is about you being silent. It is about you being silent. And we learn that because then when we start to listen to our words and we think, oh, wow, I've been saying that. Well, sometimes we're unconscious. I've been saying that about my body, about my diet, about the food that I eat, right? Instead of blessing the food before one eats it, you may be, bubble of light, cursing it. And so bestowing a certain energy frequency on that food and having to digest that vibration. And as we become lighter, as we drop atoms, as there's less of us here in the 3D and more of us acclimating to 4D, to the trinary consciousness, we become sensitive and we realize, well, I can't keep saying those kinds of things about myself, because you realize that what you're doing is you're either triggering your body-mind's ability to relax and receive, which is the rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system, or you're telling your body that it's not safe. Everything's out to get you. And so you go into the stress mode. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough this. There's not enough help. I need to control everything, whatever all those things are. And so we're straddling, right? Sometimes on a constant living in the stress mode, sometimes more of a constant living in the relax and the rest and digest mode. And ultimately, right, understanding that there is a difference and paying attention to how your words affect your reality, how your words connect you to other people and other realities. Understanding as well that whenever we speak, silently, thoughts within, words without, there is the ability to cast ourselves in alignment with the past, the present, or the future. Right? And we know here, we practice living in the now moment. We practice getting comfortable in the now. We practice being in the now. How? By activating that conscious word of the throat chakra, by allowing ourselves to speak in the present moment. And that's a practice in itself, right? And we practice the I am presence. I am blessed. I am grateful. I am healthy now. I am given all of the right opportunities at the right time and spaces. I am willing to show up in my full power and authority with love and light shining through me. I am puts you right in the present moment. I am aligns you in the now moment where all pure love-filled potential resides. And so trying that on as you move through your week, as you move through this next phase of your healing and your spiritual growth, trying that on. I am, fill in the blank. If you're a journaler and you have a journal, just take a few minutes. I am, fill in the blank, and do that 50 to 100 times and start to spin a new world, a new experience of your life around you, especially where You know the pattern has been, I'm afraid because, I never have enough because, I never get a chance to fill in the blank, where there are those perpetual repetitive thoughts and words, silent and outspoken, that confine us, that validate what the tar body and what the ego would have be true, which is for you to think that suffering is right, is real, and to believe that you are not enough, and that you have to be a victim of this world, and that it is unsafe. Well, those are all of the notions that go with the world. But remember, what we do here at 4D Trinity is we bridge heaven on earth through the unity of mind, body, and emotions. And when we get our mind and our body and our emotions in alignment through mastering our word, through mastering our mouth, everything changes. Your healing takes on a realm and a mode that it cannot otherwise be at, that it cannot otherwise generate itself at. If you are stuck in the continual repetition of old stories, themes, unhealed business that has brought you to here now. And in fact, look at everything around you. Look at your home, your pets, your car or your bus pass, your relationships with your family, certain relatives maybe, your finances, your health, your bones, your knees, or whatever physical attributes that really specifically call you, your awareness. Look at all of these details and these aspects of your life and consider that everything is here because of everything you've ever affirmed, said, or thought. Through that throat chakra. Throughout your entire life, and if you believe in past lives, throughout the collection of your past lives, everything that you are experiencing right now is a culmination of all that you've affirmed, of all that you've allowed, and all you've given right of way to. Now, this could be a bitter pill to swallow if it resonates as truth and you don't like where you're at. You're frustrated, you want out, you want change. Yet, this pill of truth is also that which sets us free. Because if there is a resonance and there is stuff to heal, it is time for change. The time is now. The time is now to allow yourself to generate new fractals of information about yourself. Remember, where we're going with all of this is that there is that the junk DNA, those DNAs within us that are not yet activated, and the light codes required to activate that beautiful divine connection of your higher self with your 3D self are required through your conscious word and your conscious thought. So the God phone is calling. Let's see. Hello. Blessings, dear God. Yes, throat chakra. Throat chakra. That's what we're doing today. How are you? God's like, I'm always good. Of course you are. Yes. God says hi, everyone. I do. It's behind the board here. I could grab it. Yeah, I would love to read that. Okay. Verbal medicine from my book, The Reiki Apprentice, for sure. All right, dear God, thank you and blessings. Namaste. Thank you so much. All right, God's going to have us read, pardon me 1 second, from my book. The Reiki Apprentice. All of my links to my books are down below in the Show More box. So please feel free to check it out. I'm so very grateful. And if you like it, leave me a review. I would be so very grateful. And I am so grateful. So thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so God is saying, let's get right into it. We are going to read, what page did God say? I think God said 109. So I'm reading from chapter 10, Verbal Medicine, just what I thought. Okay. I'm going to just hop right in. Oh, okay, I see. No, this links up with the work we're going to do here on the board and the meditation we're going to do later. Yes, there are points in creation along your timeline that require healing. We can energetically go to the point in creation of all negative experiences and bring them to a balanced state through speaking it so. In this way, we erase and rewrite our reactions to those experiences for the highest good. As you energetically disconnect from those grids of hurt, of reaction, and behavior, you can experience yourself free from that part of your past. You can begin to redefine who you are in the present and who you were in the past. The past will no longer be your reality in the now, because you will no longer house those same reactions to it. You will not keep the past alive in the same ways. You will begin to remember your life in a new and positive way. You will become grateful for what you perceive as bad, hurtful, or negative past experiences. Now, isn't that just very, very interesting? Because we're going to get into this. And I know if you're a regular, you're familiar with the point in creation idea. And also, I love how that speaks to, right, the words that we speak. So we talked about this a little bit, that they're either keeping us bound in the past or in the future timeline, which the reality, pardon me, I'm kind of wiggly today, which the reality is such that we're not in the now. We are not relaxing and resting in the now moment, which is where all of our power, which is where all of the blessings are, in the I am, in your ability to be here now. When we are in the past, when we are in the future, our energy is fragmented and we are not in our full power and authority. And so knowing that our word helps us to align, to center, again, to anchor and ground into the good stories that our subconscious holds, into those parts of self that where we have conquered our fears, and align us directly with source, with God, with love, with light. And so your throat chakra is a very, very powerful tool, both to be used consciously through your spoken word, the silent words you speak within, and also and your ability to be silent and to listen and to have an expanded sense of receiving downloads and information from people, places, things, buildings, plants, right? As your psychic connections, as your intimate ability with everything in the universe begins to get closer and closer through you healing your life, you realize there's a constant conversation, and all of divine creation is singing a song, is sharing a vibrational tone, has something to express in its own beautiful way. And you begin to receive those downloads. Now, you don't have to if you don't want, and you can learn how to turn the volume down. But the point is that there is a whole different world to experience as we learn to courageously hold our tongue, which can be a practice as well, especially if we lash out, if we have a tendency to be bitter, if we have a tendency, you know, to allow the tar body to speak through us and to try to trigger ourselves or others in any situations, which is really just cock blocking our full power and authority, which is really just trying to dampen the beautiful, unlimited, powerful being that we all are. And it's okay, that's just a part of the tar body's job. That's all the resistance is. But if we keep on meditating, despite that, we allow ourselves to have the bad days. We calm around, we come back, and we give thanks. We come back and we start to, no matter what it looks like, we use our spiritual will, our free will, that is to think whatever we want to think, no matter what we've been told, no matter what someone outside of me told me about my body, that might be very, very disrespectful, inappropriate, and hurtful even, perhaps, if I'm attached, right, to the body in a certain way. Now, I can repeat what they've told me about that and send myself into a deeper realm of self-doubt, of self-hate, of self-loathing, and to the point, start to repeat that, store it in my basement. And whenever I look in the mirror or I go to the store and try on a new outfit, that's the filter through which I see. And isn't it interesting how we store the thoughts that we think, the words that we speak throughout all of the chakras? So being mindful Because every time you speak a word, not only are all of your cells and atoms listening, and because they have no attachment, you could say, I'm poor, I am so poor this week, and your cells will be like, she's poor this week. Your atoms will be like, she's poor this week. We need to verify that. We need to allow her to send that energy out through the universe. Connect with all like minds that feel poor and miserable or whatever it might be, and pipe that back down to her so that she can have that reality. Your cells don't care whether you're rich or you're poor. They just do what you tell them to do. They vibrate as you tell them to vibrate, right? And again, where there is silence, you do these silent retreats, or maybe you're guided, as I am, and it's explained in my book here, where I was guided to do a 7-day silence, and I had never done silence. The amount of information that I learned about myself, though, in that silence, my criticism, my ability to be so judgmental of myself, of others, just all of this, the stuff in the basement, the stuff in the subconscious that was ready to be blessed, ready to be healed, ready to be released for my highest good. That was all there, showing me where I can make adjustments, showing me where I can place love instead of fear, showing me where I can start to heal my life. So remember, don't be hard on yourself. As you bump into those levels of resistances, they are there so that you can come back to love, so that you can remember and be even strengthened even more in your ability to hold your tongue, to be mindful in your speech, and again, to know, right? We know this if you study with me. Every word you think, everything you speak, casts out from your body as an energy thread we call the grid, and is connected to a larger strata. Your individual grid goes out from your body, connects to the collective matrix of the collective grid. Pardon me, the grid matrix of collective consciousness, where all other minds are joined. And so if you're thinking those self-doubt, those self-hate, those I don't have enough money, I'm never going to make it, nobody loves me, whatever the stories are, right, that are constantly kicking out from that subconscious mind. So even if you have told yourself that you love yourself and the world is great, if there's still some unhealed stuff down in the basement of your subconscious self that hasn't been rooted out, that hasn't been seen, blessed, right, and alchemated, from the dross of lead, the heaviness of the gravity of the grids, to dropping atoms and to becoming enlightened about that situation, placing love, placing light, allowing it to be healed and transformed, well, that is what you're going to run into. That's what you're going to run into. As well as the collective that you plug into when you affirm doubt, when you affirm limitation, you plug into the collective. Everyone else who has ever said those thoughts, thought those thoughts, affirmed those prayers. Again, it can be those things that serve you, that liberate you, those aspects that bind you. But you connect with the collective from your individual grid thread to the collective grid thread, and that is piped back down into you as your experience in your reality. So what are you choosing? And what is it serving? And can you change it? Blessings. Nina, love for you. Blessings. Thanks for saying hi, Nina. So we're going to draw some little details on the board because I want to talk about the spiritual integrator as well. Let me just look at these notes. You know, as well, this ability to express your gratitude is such a powerful, powerful, potent tool. And I just want to remind you that every time you express your gratitude for whatever it is, you align yourself in the present moment. You activate your throat chakra to its fullest potential and ability to express beauty, right? If you follow me on Instagram, I have this continual little thread that's happening, this theme that speaks to, I think beautiful thoughts and speak beautiful words. I speak beautiful thoughts and think beautiful words. wow, if you are not happy or even miserable in your life, take a moment to allow yourself to reorient how you speak over your life. And it's really that simple. Again, what you will run into, and even if you have resistance now, that's just the old stories that are rooted in limitation and lack. Yet that's your practice to strengthen your spiritual will, to strengthen your spiritual musculature, as Marianne says. And to know thy truth, to know thyself divine, and to allow yourself then to have the experience of who you are in that truth, as that truth in the world. When the world may tell you otherwise, when the world may tell you, no, 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 you need to get 5 degrees, spend, $800,000 becoming a certified whatever before you can even apply for that job. And by the time that is, you're already going to be in your 50s, ready for retirement. Whatever all those stories of the world are, in 4D consciousness, what we do here is we just blast that stuff out of the water. We release all those. Maybe they're stories your parents, your family, your culture, your religious background have given you. And some serve for a while, and some don't ever serve your joy, your truth, your growth. And so activating that throat chakra is about you expressing your truth, is about you grounding and aligning the reality that you would have. What reality would you have about you and this food? I mean, I know someone who would constantly, before they eat, they would say, oh, I know this is going to give me a stomach ache. I mean, can you imagine? But it's unconscious. And how many of those little things do we go around and we just sprinkle all over everywhere? You might be filling in resumes and sending them off. And as you send them off, you may be like, I'm never going to get this job. Now the universe could surprise you and you might get it. Yet the point is mastering your tongue, mastering your word silently and those spoken to create the correct conditions vibrationally within you so that that energetic blueprint of vibration outside of you matches. And it sounds simple, and it is. And the minutia we get through is all that stuff that we've taken on that's in the subconscious, in the basement, that would say otherwise, that would resist it otherwise, that would want you, that wants you unhealthy, unhappy, suffering. Fuck that. Pardon my French, but I'm so over it. I spent my whole life being a victim. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to. You don't have to be that anymore. But I'm also here to tell you that you are solely responsible for you. And that your word, every word you speak and every thought you think, has maximal power to direct your life and create realities for you to experience. Now, depending on what you repeat in your thoughts, in your words, will determine your experience of reality, right? We'll experience the reality that you generate. Because that's all we're doing as we activate the throat chakra is we're generating rhythms of vibration, rhythms of grids that go out. You're transmitting, you're sending out signals, beep, 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 and it's constant unless you are a very ascended master yogi who has mastered the mind and who has very few thoughts, if any at all, for periods of time. That mind is, and I know for many students that I work with meditation stuff, I mean, people's major issue is that their mind drives them crazy. And learning, right, how to nourish those parts of ourselves that are willing to relax peacefully, in peace, in love, in light, without having to think about things a million times in a million ways. And I mean, it's one thing if you're a creative artist and you're bubbling and percolating ideas and you're getting excited and you're getting turned on energetically from it. And I mean, there's a very different component to that than to the mind driving you crazy because you can't stop the thoughts. But as long as those thoughts are going, they're generating rhythms that are connecting you to grid systems in the matrix And remember, we're in it. This is a part of being here, is this 3D grid matrix of collective consciousness. We don't necessarily want to blow it up. Some of you do, some of you might, but it's to learn how to master the grid, master the matrix, my friends. And how do we do that? By being a master of your word and your thoughts, by being a master of your time and space. And it all starts with the tip of your tongue and with the thoughts that we let go. Now, why are we afraid to say certain things at certain times to certain people? Because we know that what we send out is multiplied. We know sometimes if just even saying it, even if it's the right person, the right kind of person that you would want to share that information with, sometimes you might even just be like, higher self just won't let you go there. It won't let you. And so you honor that and you practice the aspect of the silence, of the listening part of the throat chakra. But why is that? Because we know that everything that we send out returns multiplied. Now it returns multiplied, and just for a little review, because it goes out as a grid thread from us, as an individual grid thread of our feeling, of our expression through word, through thought, and it connects to the grid of collective consciousness. And this grid of collective consciousness, again, is made up of all of the infinite amount of people, of beings who have ever existed in this universe. And so when you plug in with your thoughts, with your words, you're generating rhythms of your individual sequence that goes forth to vibrationally connect with the collective of all of thoughts, words that have ever been generated, specific to financial poverty, specific to a healthy body and healing, specific to the serenity prayer, specific to the Om, specific to healing your life, specific to self-doubt, self-loathing, self-hate, unforgiveness, judgment, criticism, illness, unkindness. And remember, as we heighten, as we enlighten, as we become 4D beings, and we start to straddle the 3D and the 4D, have 1 foot in the 3D, 1 foot in the 4D, as we calibrate being in the world and not of it, that is the initiation. It is our initiation to understanding the power and the potency of the word, what we share and how we share it, and how it affects us and how it affects the greater whole. Because if my thought connects me to the collective, then I'm either adding to the collective liberation, the collective liberty, the collective healing, the healing of the collective, or not. And there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong, there's no need to save the world. Just simply knowing that there is a difference, simply knowing that your energy, that the energy that you create, that you generate, that you send out, is going somewhere, is doing something. And it is a currency and it has potency in how it affects you and how it affects the greater whole. Right? Throat chakra. Very, very powerful. Your words are very, very powerful. When we are unconscious of that, we say all sorts of stuff. And, listen, I made this funny note here. Remember earlier I was talking about that your body listens, right? And your cells listen to everything you say, to everything you think, like they're just listening, and they respond accordingly. So we all know people who talk a lot. If they're talking that much, chances are there's, 3 times as many thoughts going on as well as that. So you can just imagine all of that information, all of those words, all of that stuff, just connecting you to the collective. And is it helping or is it hindering? Is it helping you get your knickers in a twist and get all spaghetti junctioned and confused? Or is it creating a clarifying path, to your peace, to your sovereignty, And so it's interesting because as we enlighten, on one hand, we begin to speak more, yet the words we speak become rooted and grounded in greater clarity because we've learned and we are learning about ourselves. We are learning about truth. We are understanding the more subtle aspects in our relationship to time space, to the energetics of this universe. And so we might understand things in a new way. And so hear ourselves expressing about life, about love, about spirit in just really profound ways. And so if you are having these experiences and your beautiful throat chakra is unfurling and activating, and you know you've been doing your work on cleaning out that subconscious and clearing it, and you're riding a wave of like, I feel good, and knowing that your word has power, I invite you to tape record yourself, to write your affirmations on text cards, to write them on your mirror with an erasable marker, to place your prayers, your affirmations, your words of self-love, of self-acceptance all over the house, in your car, in your journal, on your phone, wherever it is that you will look most, in the fridge, in the loo, wherever it is. And so that you reinstate, you see, as you affirm and use that throat chakra, you're reinstating in the subconscious mind what the real truth is, what you're choosing now. And the now, even though the subconscious is always rooted in the past, in the future, in possibilities and paradigms that either have happened, that are real, imagined, or fake, there's a realm that as you align yourself into the now, into this moment, through your conscious word, using that throat chakra, with your wisdom self as your higher self, will the past and the future drop away. And your reality is then given the right of way to change. Miracles can happen. So I encourage you to take up that practice as it resonates. You've been writing poems. Oh, I love that. I love that you've been writing poems. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to express yourself and to use that throat chakra, right? Even it's in silence. You're still placing your feelings or your creativity into word and bringing it down to earth. Thank you for sharing that, Nina. Okay, so we're going to get in. Let me just review. And we know as well that gratitude blesses and multiplies whatever it is that you say thank you for, that you give thanks for, whether it's silently within or literally outside. You are multiplying that. You are blessing it. And so it is multiplied by your acknowledgement of receiving it. And remember, when you say thank you, you are opening yourself, throat chakra, you are opening yourself to receive more, especially in the way of love and light, especially with those things, those people, those places, experiences that you know are nourishing and fortifying your wellness, your spiritual truth, your ability to receive even more of that comes when you say thank you. What you're saying is, I receive it. And I even say that when someone pays a compliment, yeah, sure, we can say thank you. And in fact, it's very powerful for us to be able to receive love in that way, especially when it's sincere, and it's from someone you respect or even a stranger. And when you know it's sincere, to say thank you. Another thing I've been playing with is saying, I receive it. Someone gave me a compliment the other week and I was like, I receive it. I receive it. Bless it and let it be multiplied. So again, gratitude orients us to the present moment where all parts of self are allowed to align in this now moment. Okay, so another word, don't be hard on yourself as you realize how much you've beaten yourself up all of your life. Just be aware that this is what you're up against in all those grids. So if you've, like me, had spent the majority of your life talking bad to your body, for example, believing that it's hard to get anywhere financially or without a college degree, let's stick with the body, right? Because we all have a body. We may not all care about a college degree, but we all have a body and we all have a conversation with the body. And what I know for me is that I had spent and I had become very comfortable being a victim. And I had become so comfortable becoming a victim that I had spent the entirety of my life wallowing in victim mentality. And in that showed in the way that I spoke over my body, silently within myself, but also then outside, where even I could see friends and people looking at me like, that's weird that she's saying that about her body. Like, that's not very nice. That's not a very kind way to speak over yourself. But we can have a lazy tongue and get stuck in that rut. And all of a sudden, those things become normalized. And because the tar body resists us changing and healing our lives, it will be very happy for us to stay there until the light turns on a little more. We let in more love. We practice more self-love, journey on that healing of our lives. And then the light gets brighter and brighter, and we start to realize, oh shit, I've been dooming myself. I've been placing hate in my body for years. You know, no wonder my blank looks like this. And if your blank looks good on the outside, perhaps there's something on the inside. No wonder my blank, my kidneys are ill. No wonder my toes are cramping from arthritis, or whatever it might be, right? We understand the metaphysical realm and how there's a connection between what we think, what we speak, and how our body, how our reality shows up for ourselves. And so practicing kindness is a practice, but knowing that there's potency in that. Blessings, Nina, for all of your comments. I appreciate it. Okay, so, and remember then what you're going to be bumping up against as you start to heal your life, as you start to say, forget this, I'm going to start a new path of affirming, I love my beautiful body, I bless my perfect health, I receive all the divine blessings of this universe. You know, as you start to get your mojo on in that way, what we bump into against, again, are those old beliefs, those old outmoded, all the things that you've been saying for all those years about money, about love, about romance, about your ability to be creative, your ability to receive, to manifest, your body, your health, your all that, all those stories that we've invested in, that we've had on repeat for this lifetime or several lifetimes. That's what we're up against. But knowing that the power of love and the power of now is more powerful than the past or the future, because they do not exist. They are illusions. And so when you start to drop into, you might bump up against, well, you will bump up against into those old stories. And it might shake you, and it might send you into a downward spiral for a minute, but then you keep praying, you keep meditating, you keep coming back to that little glimmer of light. You use that light, and one bit of light at a time, you place love, you choose love, you are determined. You are committed and devoted. And you allow that commitment and devotion to carry you little by little by little, deeper and deeper, back to your power, back to your truth, where you rewrite, you reroute all of that stuff that's down there. And as soon as you place love, as soon as you do your affirmations and you really do them, really do your work, then all of those old stories cannot exist in that petri dish of your subconscious, because you are changing the pH. You're changing it from the acidic vibrational realm. You're changing it into a vibration of alkalinity, where love and light resides. And all the old stories that are truly ready to go, that you are truly ready to release, they disappear. They disappear. And then you're free. And then the trick you see is, and it's not really a trick. If you follow me again on Instagram, I've posted this week a few posts about it. And then it's relaxing into the simplicity of the blessing of living heaven on earth, which we think should be pretty darn easy to do, because what a gift it is, right? To have this experience of joy, of health, of happiness, of ease, of flow, of manifesting divine grace and good every turn, everywhere that you go, having positive relationships with everyone in your family, with communities, with, like, there's no issues. Can we live drama-free? Can we allow heaven on earth? Can we allow the beauty and simplicity of the now to be our truth? It's the initiation through that throat chakra, which can sometimes make you feel like, well, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it can be very challenging from time to time. So what I want to review with you before we hit our meditation is this idea about the spiritual integrator. So I'm going to turn around here. So we're going to imagine that, okay, here's the tube. Okay. I'm going to draw like this so you can understand where we're going. Here's your crystalline tube that houses the spine and the chakras. Root chakra, second chakra, third chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and crown. Now, right here at the throat chakra resides your spiritual integrator. The spiritual integrator gets activated and turned on as you realize that you are spirit, as you realize that you are in this world, yet not of it, as you allow a certain spiritual truth to be activated within you that gives you those spiritual superpowers. What happens is your spiritual integrator that is in the seed of your throat chakra becomes calibrated. And that awareness of understanding that all of the words that you speak through all of the levels of yourself again become impressions through all of your chakras that then are transmitted and radiated out from you, that connect you to the collective and then are reflected back as your reality, as your experience. Well, that begins to refine itself, and your ability to understand yourself as spirit and begin to communicate as spirit, as your higher self, becomes strengthened. Now, with this, at this level of the energy body system, we have this T-square that happens. And the T-square runs through the throat chakra and to either side of the collarbone, or just under the collarbones here at the front of the shoulders, right? And this T-square has its set points at life and death. And so to understand the gravity, the power of your word, and that which is either integrating spirit, love, God, truth, source, light into your 3D experiences or not, right, is all calibrated and rooted in how you express yourself, silently and outwardly. And so your throat chakra is a big deal because it grounds and orients, radiates and roots out from you that which you would have as an experience. So being really mindful, and in fact practicing being impeccable with your word, which may stop you from talking for some time. Right? The more you really want to streamline this process, you really start to pay attention. You start to go, whoa, and you say, oh, okay, I'm not going to say that. Or you use the bubble of light, where you call on a bubble of light. You say what you need to say, put it directly into the bubble so it doesn't activate the grids. It doesn't send out a thread of energy to the collective and connect you and then, multiply it and whatever, unless it's something really good that you want to share. But even then, still sometimes, right? You're like, let me put this in a bubble of light. I really need to talk about this, get this off my chest. And I'm going to put it in a bubble of light. And that way it stays in the bubble. You express what you need to say. It stays in the bubble for a few minutes, however long it's needed there as you have the conversation with your sacred friend, your sacred other, or whatever it is. And then the bubble disappears. And so too does the information, so you don't run any grids. Life and death, though. What you speak is either giving you life, and this sounds pretty hardcore, or killing you slowly. You're either giving heaven on earth life as you talk about the world, as you talk about other people, as you talk about other cultures, as you talk about all the crazy, all the stuff on the news or whatever it might be. You're either giving life to positive, pure potentials collectively that we can experience, or not. You're either putting those potentials to death or giving them life. And equally, you're putting to death those principles, those values, those beliefs, which are very possibly outmoded and no longer serve the life, the birth of a 4D consciousness for you and for the collective that would have it. So this T square runs from left to right, right to left, meets at the center of the throat chakra and grounds. It grounds our experience down through the throat, the heart, the third chakra, the second chakra, and the root, right down into connection with the earth. And it goes out through the timeline. It's 3D, so it doesn't go any higher. It doesn't go in the vertical. It stays on the horizon in the tick-tock. Remember, we spoke about this recently. It stays on the horizon, life and death, because life and death are parts of a 3D reality. They are not real in the realm of spirit. There is no ending and no beginning. This is only what we have coined as a phrase, as a term, to understand the cycles of being here and then not being here. But ultimately, in the bigger reality with the big R, there is no life and no death. Everything simply is. And so this life and death set point, these set points we create, become this scale, this tipping of the scales. And again, we're either tipping ourselves in the way of possibility, of probability, of greater love, greater light, or not, or that which is destructing and destructive towards ourselves. And again, I know for me, I spoke so hard and so bad over my body. I hated my body for the majority of my life, that when I finally went in there and started healing and writing energy letters to my body and doing Reiki, learning Reiki and laying hands on, and then like seeing the stuff that was coming up to be healed, to be resolved. I mean, I cried. I cried for years. But those tears helped to heal and release those things that had been locked in there that were not the truth, so that they could be cleansed, purified, disappeared, so that the truth of perfection, of love, of light, that is our divine inherent blueprint could reside. Because remember, what we say is, here's that grid matrix of collective consciousness, and here's the 0 point, and here's the heaven on earth line, right, or not line, but here's the heaven on earth horizon, we'll say. But beyond all of this is the nothingness of love, is the love and only love, is the space, place, plane, realm, eternal love. And so when we use that throat chakra consciously, and we are aware that we're really feeding the light body or the tar body in either direction, and that it's constantly, consciously or unconsciously rooting our experience of love, rooting our experience of power in the world, rooting our experience of sex and sexuality, of creating and manifesting, rooting our experience of our fears, of our ability to be physically grounded, to feel secure and safe on the earth, to have a sense of vitality and fearlessness. That's what I did too, not only bestowing many bad, hateful stories towards my body, to it, within it, but also I felt so unsafe here in this world that I had myself convinced I had this part of myself. All these lower chakras. I mean, and in my heart too, it was clouded because I was so afraid to be on this planet. I felt so unsafe. Now, just so that you are reminded, all of this is in my book, The Reiki Apprentice. It is an autobiography of my life up until my early 30s, and how I learned Reiki and how I learned to heal my life. All of the energy tools, the metaphysics, the basics for a lot of what we're talking about is contained in that book. So if it resonates, it is on Kindle and hardback at Amazon, and the links are down below. And it's the kind of book that as you heal with me in my life through the book, you are also healed. You learn, right, by way of being present with my journey. you go on a journey too of healing and of self-mastery. So I invite you to that if it resonates. And thank you, everyone. I often get little DMs on Instagram or emails of someone saying, hey, I just bought your book and, you know, I support you. And so thank you. Thank you, dear community. I really, really appreciate all of your love and support. Okay, so one more word on this timeline idea, and then we're going to do our meditation. So remember, a long time ago, or it seems like a long time ago, we have this idea of the timeline. Here's you, and here's your timeline. And what is your timeline? It is your, let's go ahead and draw one up on the main board. It is the timeline of your life. So let's do this now. Okay, so let's imagine that life and death are real. And they are in this 3D, aren't they? Here's you. We'll give you arms. Here's you. Here's when you were born. And here's when you die. So imagine this is a 3D, this is a timeline of your life. And contained throughout that timeline are all of the experiences, just marked, little tags here, all of the experiences that have marked you in this life. Now, these experiences can be amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And they can also be those that have been life crises, those that have been near death, those that have been really challenging and have pushed us and have almost destroyed us. And ultimately, it's those issues that have to do with death and destruction and crisis and drama and all of this stuff and fear. Those are the ones that we somehow remember more than the good, than the love, than the positive ones. Until, again, we've tipped the scales in greater alignment and we've given life more attention in the 3D than death. I know so many people who speak so ill. I don't know so many people. I know a handful of people that speak so ill over their bodies, so ill over their circumstances, that they really are taking away time and creating death for themselves. And it's interesting. It's just interesting. There's no judgment. But the more that our throat chakra becomes attuned, we start to hear, see, sense, become awakened to the power of that. And we see others without judgment, but we see them, we hear them speak, and we see their lives, we see their health. And we start to understand, like, oh yeah, there's a connection here. We're either feeding the light body and life, pure possibility, potential of the most high divine, or we're feeding the tar body, self-destruction, death. Along our timeline, there's going to be people, places, things that have affected you, people that have messed with you, people that have bullied you, people that have challenged you, experiences that you've had to grow through, but that perhaps have marked you and they've stayed with you. And again, these are the things that are in the basement, in this root chakra here. That's the stuff that sticks. I mean, it all, well, you see, no, I was going to say it all sticks, but it doesn't, because this is your root, right? This is your stories. This is the subconscious. The good doesn't stick because it doesn't have to stick. The good is the truth, and the truth is clear, is pure. And the truth is not a story filed in the subconscious realms of you. The truth simply is. And so there's no storage place for truth, because as we were looking at our grid matrix of collective consciousness art piece here, and we flip it and there's no thingness, there's love and only love, there's a blank slate. On the back, there's no grids there, there's no stories there. There's nothing to connect you to polarity. So, again, we tip the scales towards life versus death. And along that timeline, this is all the stuff that is held here in the subconscious in your root chakra. And so as we heal our lives, we become liberated, we become expanded and awakened. We heal our lives. We reorient. And what happens is we naturally go to the point in creation of all of those stories that would have us be held in the past. And it sounds so rudimentary, but really it's so true. We're grown-ups walking around, you know, still like little children. If we have not healed those parts of ourselves that were hurt as a child, physically abused, sexually abused, bullied in school, whatever it is. All of those things mark our timeline along the horizon of life and death that is an illusion because there is no end and no beginning. Yet again, as we calibrate the throat chakra, the spiritual integrator doot, 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 becomes awakened because we have a sincere, from the heart space, we have a sincere, a pure desire, a pure intention to cultivate a new experience of life, to bridge heaven on earth, to be free of being that victim, to be free. I know I was bullied in school. I was a very overweight child. I was bullied in school about being a fat kid, and I mean, bullies are bullies, but he was really mean. And don't you know, I carried that up until just a few years ago, until like it's really gone. Once in a blue moon, a little lesson, a little opportunity of just a glimmer of the bullying energy will like just check in with me just to see how I respond, just so that I can see how I respond, so that I can embody how I would like to respond if and when those situations do arise in their very, very small and benign ways, because that stuff cannot affect me the way it did before. And it only affected me because I believed in it, because I repeated it, because that was a story in my subconscious, held as fear in my root chakra, that tipped the scales towards death versus life, that I carried with me through my timeline. I want to read with you once more the passage that the God Phone wanted us to read from my book, The Reiki Apprentice, and then we're going to get into the meditation and close out today. So one more time, yes, there are points in creation along your timeline that require healing. We can energetically go to the point in creation of all negative experiences and bring them to a balanced state through speaking it so. In this way, we erase and rewrite our reactions to those experiences. So in this way, we erase the grids, we rewrite the grids we are connected to. We rewrite our reactions to those experiences in doing so. And this is always done for the highest good. We know we don't force a will. We don't try to make something happen that's not ready to happen. We just don't, that's not how we manifest here at 4DT. The way that I teach is that we always allow love, the quantum organizer, to do the work for us. We simply create the correct conditions and call in those qualities, those values, those archangels or those ascended masters, whoever it is that we work with, to hold space for the highest good. But ultimately, right, we get out of the way. And sometimes we got to stand in the center and claim it and own it and verse it and speak it so. And absolutely, that's a balancing act. Yet the point here is that when we go to the point in creation, as we're going to do now in this little meditation, when we rewrite our affirmations of self and speak them into the mirror or into the world, we're doing so without attachment. We're doing so for the highest good. So say if your thing is finances and you're looking in the mirror every day and you're saying, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire. The invitation is to be unattached when you do that work. That if you never become a millionaire, you're not going to be in a suffering mental continuum because of it. You're not attached to it. You can say those affirmations and have fun and be detached from it and allow love, the quantum organizer, your higher good, the higher good of all, to be served through that versus being attached to it. Okay, so let me go on. So for the highest good. As you energetically disconnect from those grids of hurt, of reaction and behavior, you can experience yourself free from that part of your past. So these are all just memories. Remember, as we said earlier, spiritual, oh, blessings, Boomwell. Thanks for joining. It's all that cellular memory. And as we reword, we rewire, again, the chemical reactions in our body. As I expressed to you, I lived in so much fear of just being a woman in this world, and I had wired myself. And now it's interesting because even though those mental configurations for the most part have been healed, and I don't trip over those wires anymore, there's a physical part in my strata that I'm now working on, and that is going very, very well. Yet that where I see that I was so afraid, I had so much fear shoved into my belief systems, just hidden so deep down inside of me. And maybe you have a similarity in your physical body, that I had tightened up in my psoas muscle so much, like a cat preparing to pounce, like you know how cats, they kind of like they hinge back and they build up their chi and they see their point where they're going to pounce, and then they pounce. They use all that like pent up, what is it kinetic energy, all of that, you know, where they're pulling in like a fishing wire, and you're just reeling it in really, really tight before you send it out. Well, what I've realized is I've been living in so much fear. I had been, right, using the throat chakra correctly, I had been living in so much fear in my past that my body believed, of course, it believed that this world was an unsafe place to be in. And for me, however that showed up in my body was specific to the psoas muscle. And what I was shown as I meditated, as I had the aha and went in deeper to heal it, what my body showed me is that my psoas is what took all of those beliefs and those fears about the world and about people, places, situations, and it wound it up. It was prepared. I was like, my body was preparing to pounce. It was preparing to be attacked, you see. And now, as all of those old beliefs are being healed and I rewire through the conscious choice and word of the throat chakra, my body is learning how to relax. That psoas is learning how to relax. My hips, my legs, my knees, everything that's connected to in my physical form is learning how to reset and how to feel safe again. So it is a process. As you energetically disconnect from those grids of hurt, of reaction and behavior, you can experience yourself free from that part of your past. You can begin to redefine who you are in the present and who you were in the past. So as those parts of self are healed in the past, you no longer bring them into the present, or you become more aware and mindful of how you might do that and what parts of those you want to bring in. And honestly, the only reason why I share what I do is because I'm a teacher, and I use my stories from my book, etc., to paint a picture that you might see yourself in your own situation and have a greater understanding of these ideas and these themes that I'm here to share. Right? So as you redefine who you are in the present, who you were in the past is redefined. The past will no longer be your reality in the now, because you will no longer house those same reactions to it. So again, the past happens, it marks our timeline. Every time we think about it, we speak about it, we re-trigger that fear. My psoas gets tight, or your heart skips a beat, or your stomach shrinks, or you have an issue digesting something, whatever, however it might show up. But all that starts to change as you change your word and your thoughts about whatever it is. So you're either keeping, and remember, keeping the past alive is death, versus life, allowing ourselves to anchor in the present moment. And I like that so much, I'm going to write it down. Death is the past. Wow, that's deep. And life is the now, right? When it comes to this life and death set points, through the T-square, the energy body, you will not keep the past alive in the same ways. You will begin to remember your life in a new and positive way. So for years, I affirmed that I was bullied, that I was a victim, and I've got very comfortable in that place, and that was my story, and I lived everything through that lens, and through every chakra, that was my story. Until I started to heal my life and go deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I healed my life, my story changed. And as my story changed, my past changed. And as my past changed, I was able to speak about my past with detachment, with greater love, with affection, with gratitude. Instead of feeling a victim, I feel like, wow, I'm so grateful now. Now I have a sense of understanding of why I've had those choices. Maybe I made them before I came in this life, of why those experiences happened. As we turn the corner, as we heal our lives, change our word, change our thoughts about things, those things change. Those experiences change. And that's the metaphysics. That's the invisible realm at work there. And your word and your thoughts are a massive component of how the invisible world works. You will become grateful for what you perceive as bad, hurtful, or negative past experiences. So just what I was saying there. So understanding now, as we drop into a little meditation, and we're going to do a general meditation that is rooted in going to the point of creation. And I know we've talked about this before. We'll do just a little mini review. When we ask the universe to go to the point in creation for us on behalf of what we're going to work on specifically, is asking the universe, asking love to go to the point in creation of all those thoughts and those words that negatively bind us to the past or the future, etc. When we call on that help and use this metaphysical energy tool of point in creation, what happens is, for that quest, the offering, the invitation through the words that I will speak, or if you know this tool, that you will speak as you use it, a line of light comes in to us as we are in agreement with us. And that line of light is just love, is an extension of love, moves in through us and connects to all of the cellular memory, all of the synapses, all of the parts of us that have been wired with those old beliefs along our timeline of the past, where there's hurt, shame, pain, fear, victim, all that stuff. That line of light in an instant goes in, clears, cleanse, heals to the degree we are willing and ready to be cleared, cleansed, and healed. Because remember, there's no force of will. Runs that energy, goes to the point in creation of when that stuff started. So you don't have to know when you first started believing that you could be bullied or betrayed or et cetera, whatever, or a victim, whatever the issue is. You may know. Yet, what this tool does is it works through time and space, through all dimensions. And so it goes to the point in creation, and that point in creation may be a place that we do not know, that is from a past life or a very, very distant parallel universe where you exist. And I know that's kind of getting out there a bit, but the point is that when we call on point in creation, a line of light goes directly from source of love to us, through all of those areas where we hold, where we harbor, where we generate the seed parts of self that have had an agreement with thoughts, notions, beliefs that do not serve our healing, our wellness, the expansion of our oneness and unity consciousness. All that stuff gets washed in an instant. The moment we speak it, the moment I speak it, it is done through us and to us and for the highest good. And that line of light then walks back through us and washes back to source. So let's drop in. And even if this is new and you're not sure, I invite you just for the next 5 or 7 minutes to allow yourself to be open. And as you're guided and in agreement with any of the prayers, any of the points in creation that are offered here, just allowing them to serve you in your highest good. So let's go ahead and take a moment to just get comfortable and close the eyes and take a deep breath in and out. We're going to connect with our higher selves, our individual higher selves, feeling an instant connection with your light body, with your wisdom self, that higher self. And at the same time, an anchoring and a grounding with the earth and the space where you find yourself. We're going to enter the rose quartz crystal cave to do this work. So, whatever that crystal cave looks like to you, imagine entering it, getting yourself comfortable in that visualization space, and just allowing these words to wash over you and whatever feels in resonance to work for you, all for the highest good. Universe, for the highest good of all, go to the point in creation of all the ways that we collectively speak harmful, hateful words over our physical bodies. Universe, go to the point in creation collectively of all the ways that we have ever spoken or thought in limited, negative ways over our finances and ability to take care of ourselves in the 3D. Universe, go to the point in creation for the collective of all the ways we have perpetuated self-hate, self-doubt, self-loathing, limitation, and fear through our bodies, through our minds, through our emotions, through our experiences. Universe, go to the point in creation in all the ways that we have expressed our word that is not in resonance with our truth. Go to the point in creation of all the ways that we have inauthentically expressed ourselves, and go to the point in creation of all the ways that we perhaps unconsciously, subconsciously, inauthentically express ourselves, think of ourselves. Universe, go to the point in creation of all of the ways that we are afraid to speak our truth. Universe, go to the point in creation of all the ways that we are afraid to be silent and quiet. Universe, go to the point in creation of our inability to listen, to hear. And universe, go to the point in creation of our fear-based realities rooted in past experiences. Universe, go to the point in creation of us turning a blind eye to our lazy tongue. Universe, go to the point in creation of all the ways that we don't stop ourselves from speaking ill over our lives when we know we are doing so. Universe, go to the point in creation of the collective throat chakra, of the throat chakra that we all share together. Go to the point in creation for the highest good of all, as are all of these points in creation, of the fear that blocks this space now, and gently, gently, gently so, that there is a very, very mindful, graceful dematerialization, rematerialization, and reactivation of this throat chakra that is healthy, that is helpful, that is in service to the greater good for each of us individually that would have it, and as it extends and connects us to everything around us, all people, places, and things. Thank you. Universe, go to the point in creation of all the ways that we speak to block our power, to block our confidence, to block our self-awareness and enlightenment. Universe, go to the point in creation of all the ways that our words have been used to hurt ourselves and others. Universe, go to the point in creation of all the ways that we have decided that it's okay to use our words to hurt others. Universe, go to the point in creation of us being mindless when we use our word. And universe, go to the point in creation of all of the ways that we have allowed our words to speak fear into our lives, into our bodies, and into our cellular memory. I place love here. We place love here. And we thank you, universe and point in creation tool. So you might feel that energy running. You may be clearing your throat. You might have coughed a little bit. If you're very, very sensitive, you just might feel all those energies dematerializing, rematerializing, recalibrating through you. It's okay if you don't. Take a breath in and out. Just start to gently open your eyes and bring awareness back to the space. I'm so very grateful for this community. I pray that everything I share here at this channel truly serves our collective spiritual growth, the collective sovereignty, and our 4D consciousness connection, that being the connection to the truth of the heart that is, that always is love and only love. I am that I am. I claim it, I receive it. What do you claim and what do you receive? Well, I receive your beautiful blessing today, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for hopping on, and for saying hi in the comments. All of my information is down in the Show More box. If you want more from me, join my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. Link is down below. Subscribe there. You will receive my mini ebook, The Higher Self, and you will also receive my monthly love letter with blogs and information about my teachings and such. I would love to keep in touch with you. Also, if you appreciate this video, give me the thumbs up, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I'd be so grateful. And know that I also have other books, a couple free mini ebooks, and another book you can purchase online. All my links are below. I'm on Instagram, and I really appreciate all of your donations to this channel. Thank you so much, with so much love, everyone. And again, I will be in Europe and for the most part Ireland in September of 2019, serving workshops on Reiki, spiritual growth, metaphysics, the grid, and channeling Relivar. If this is something you or your community is interested in, I would so appreciate you dropping me an email. I am seeking out different venues, different collectives and communities that may appreciate the information I share. So anything that you are guided to connect me to or with, people, places, events in that area, I'm so grateful. So with so much love, everyone, namaste for a very beautiful day. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. With so much love and light, blessings and love. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And more blessings. And more blessings.